Hi everyone, I'm Ellen Creative, and welcome to my new series called Pride History, where I will be going through historic events in Pride culture and significant figures as well, because I don't know a lot about Pride, and I'm guessing a lot of you guys don't either, so here we go. First one I'll be covering is obviously Stonewall, the thing that is said to have started it all, but actually there's a lot before and a lot that's come after that I hope to be able to cover as well, but Stonewall has a lot to it. Now, I've gone through and I've done some research actually on my Twitch channel. I went through and so far I've researched 2 episodes worth of stuff, but I'm hoping you guys in the comments will be able to give me more stuff to work off of. So, on a hot summer night in 1969, at the end of June, police raided the Stonewall Inn, a bar located in New York City's Greenwich Village, and served as a haven for the city's gay, lesbian, and transgender community. Police raids on gay bars were common, but on that particular night, members of the city's LGBT community decided to fight back, sparking an uprising that would launch a new era of resistance and revolution. On the night of June 27th into the morning of the 28th in 1969, Stonewall crowds erupt after police arrest and rough up the patrons. After midnight on an unseasonably hot Friday night, the Stonewall was packed when 8 plainclothes undercover police officers, 6 men and 2 women entered the bar. In addition to the bar's employees, they also singled out drag queens and other cross-dressing patrons for arrest. In New York City, masquerading as a member of the opposite sex was a crime. And I will be touching on those laws in a different video. More NYPD officers arrived on foot and in 3 patrol cars. Meanwhile, bar patrons who had been released joined the crowds of onlookers that were forming outside the Stonewall. A police van arrived and police began loading Stonewall employees and crossdressers inside. Accounts vary over exactly what kicked off the riots, but according to witness reports, the crowds erupted after police roughed up a woman dressed in masculine attire. Some believe the woman was lesbian activist Stormy Delaverry, which she will also have a video as well, who had complained that her handcuffs were too tight. People started taunting the officers, yelling pigs and copper and throwing pennies at them, followed by bottles. Some in the crowd slashed the tires of the police vehicles. According to David Carter, historian and author of Stonewall, The Riots That Sparked the Gay Revolution, the hierarchy of resistance in the riots began with the homeless or street kids, those young gay men who viewed the Stonewall as their only safe place in their lives. The exact breakdown of who did what first remains unclear, in part because this was long before the smartphone era and there were minimal documentation of the night's events. Close to 4 a.m. on June 28, 1969, police retreated and barricaded themselves inside of Stonewall. As the police van and squad cars left to drop the prisoners off on the nearby 6th precinct, the growing mob forced the original NYPD raiding party to retreat into Stonewall itself and barricade themselves inside. Some rioters used a parking meter as a battering ram to break through the door, others threw beer bottles, trash, and other objects, or made impromptu firebombs. Finally, sometime after 4 a.m., things settled down. Amazingly, no one died or was critically injured on the first night of rioting, though a few police officers reported injuries. Despite having been torn apart by the cops, the Stonewall Inn opened before dark the next night, though it wasn't serving alcohol. More and more supporters showed up, chanting slogans like "Gay Power" and "We Shall Overcome." Again, the police were called to restore order, including several larger groups of TPF officers who beat and tear-gassed the members of the crowd. For June 29th through July 1st of 1969, Stonewall became a gathering point for LGBT activists. Over the next several nights, gay activists continued to gather near Stonewall, taking advantage of the moment to spread information and build a community that would fuel the growth of the gay rights movement. Though police officers also returned, the mood was less confrontational, with isolated skirmishes replacing the large-scale riots of the weekend. The thing is that it didn't end there. There was a news article written by The Village Voice that covered the riots, which referred to, and I say this as a reclaimed term as part of the community, which I will do a video on why this term is so terrible. The news story said, the forces of faggotry. Yeah. Protesters swarmed outside the paper's offices. Some called for burning the building down. When the police pushed back, rioting started again, but lasted only a short time, concluding by midnight. The New York Daily News also resorted to homophobic slurs in its detailed coverage, running the headline, "Homo Nest Raided, Queen Bees Are Stinging Mad." Meanwhile, the New York Times wrote only sparingly of the whole event, printing a short article on page 22 on June 30th titled "Police Again Rout Village Youth." On June 28th of 1970, the first gay pride sets off from Stonewall. On the first anniversary of the police raid on Stonewall Inn, gay activists in New York organized the Christopher Street Liberation March to cap off the city's first Gay Pride Week. As several hundred people began marching up 6th Avenue towards Central Park, supporters from the crowd joined them. The procession eventually stretched some 15 city blocks, encompassing thousands of people. Inspired by New York's example, activists in other cities, including Los Angeles, San Francisco, Boston, and Chicago, organized gay pride celebrations on the same year. The frenzies of activism born on that first night at Stonewall would eventually fuel gay rights movements in Canada, Britain, France, Germany, Australia, New Zealand, among other countries, becoming a lasting force that would carry on for the next half-century and beyond. A lot of people know that Stonewall was a riot, but they don't know all that happened there. So here's to hoping that you guys learned something, and give me some names or events that you guys want me to research and do videos on, because I really want to do this because I want to learn more and I want you guys to learn more.